The race is on now to replace a scandal-ridden Graham Platner. He is officially no longer the Senate candidate. He stepped out. Platner releasing a statement saying this: "I write to formally withdraw my candidacy for United States Senate. My name may have been on the ballot, but that ballot belongs to the people of Maine. As such, please consider this notice as my official withdrawal from consideration for this office." For more, let's bring in Fox News political analyst Lisa Boothe. Lisa, great to see you.
Aisha, great to see you, my friend.
So he says this decision is the decision of voters in Maine, but it's not really going to be this time around, because let's put it up on the screen. These are the contenders, at least that have come out so far, that want to jump into this race. And the voters don't get to decide here. It's the Democratic Party that gets to decide.
Yeah, it's these 600 delegates who get to decide this race. And Graham Platner didn't just win his primary. He got more votes than any other Senate Democrat in Maine's history.
Right.
In that primary. He broke a record. And so Democrats are disenfranchising those voters. What I find interesting, too, about his statement to withdraw, his written statement, is he also mentioned that he is a new representative of the people, of the real world, of voters, not the billionaires, the oligarchs, the political establishment. But those are the voters that he was losing with. If you go back last month in that New York Times poll, Susan Collins was winning with non-college educated voters by double digits. He was losing those working class voters that he claims to represent. And I think the reason why is that real world that he pretends that he lives in was a farce. He was cosplaying as this working class voter when his oyster farming business was propped up by his mom. He attended an elite boarding school when he was younger. He was enrolled in George Washington University. So it was all a lie. But beyond this, now Democrats have until July 15th to file their paperwork to run, and then they will hold this nominating convention on July 25th.
And you brought up something really interesting on the 5 the other day, that, there's no amount of time to vet these people. There's been no vetting done, so they're basically going through the same process again. They're going to pick somebody and hope and pray that it's all going to work out and they don't have any skeletons in their closet. And I think I heard that it's going to come down to maybe asking these people to come up with petitions, like signatures, and I don't know how you verify those signatures either. That's another big question. Lisa, Fox has learned, this is a big scoop, Fox has learned the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, plan to roll out their brand new platform next week, and we have the details. Let's put it up on the screen, and your jaw's going to drop at the first one here. So, number one, they want to eliminate the U.S. Senate. So a whole third branch of government, let's just get rid of it. That's number one. Number two, let's just replace the president and the Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. So no more equal branches of government. And then third, amnesty for all immigrants. We saw that one coming. And number four, defunding the Department of War. This is real. This is coming in a matter of days. And these are the candidates that are winning across America.
Well, absolutely. And just real quick on the vetting aspect. Yeah, Graham Platner, the people who brought him into the race only vetted him in 3 days. Vetting typically takes weeks. So Democrats are going to potentially end up in the same position they were with Graham Platner. But on this, yeah, Aisha, what they're telling us is they want to dismantle the system from within. And you look at countries like Venezuela, where socialism took over. Hugo Chavez was democratically elected. He promised on the same things we're hearing from some of these socialist candidates on the left, to return power to the people, to fight corruption. And then what happens is they get elected and they do the opposite. The power gets consolidated with these bureaucrats, with these politicians, with this new ruling class, and the system gets corrupted. And, so these same people who say that they want to, empower the people, they don't. They just want to empower and enrich themselves. And these are people who can't get powerful or rich on their own.
Well, let me play this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Let me play this soundbite for you. This is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. This is actually before Graham Platner resigned. But this is her reaction to Donald Trump and Republicans basically now using the word communism and, slamming socialism. And she's saying they're doing that because socialism is so popular. Watch.
The reason that Donald Trump has to pivot from saying socialist to saying communist now is because socialism is actually quite popular. These ideas, whether you call it socialism or not, they are very popular across the country. So he's got to attach a new label to it.
I mean, where is she getting that from? Where is this popular? In blue cities?
Well, it's popular with the left. You know, you look
Yeah.
at Gallup polling, I think 66% of Democrat voters have a positive viewpoint of socialism, but it's not popular yet. Capitalism is still the most popular with independents and certainly with Republicans on the right. So yes, it's popular in her party, but not for the rest of the country. And then on the communism aspect, Karl Marx, who was the father of all this, said that there was two tiers of this, right? So it starts with socialism. He didn't call it specifically that, but that's what he was referring to. And then you get to communism. So they're essentially one of the same of what the left wants to do. But the bottom line is they want to get in and then they want to dismantle the system, whether it be to abolish the Electoral College. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to change the way that these institutions have checks and balances, so it makes it easier for them to consolidate power. And then they also want to get rid of the things that keep us safe as a country, whether it be the police or the Department of War.
So how would you've worked on so many campaigns, how would you advise Republicans now to deal with this? Is it just, I remember one of these Republican strategists saying, like, you can't make socialists out to just be a boogeyman. That only gets you so far. But what is the case that Republicans should be making ahead of November?
Well, I think the economic aspect is a little bit difficult just because Americans are frustrated with the economy right now. So it's more highlighting the abolishing the police, the abolishing the Supreme Court, some of these radical ideas of really fundamentally changing the vision of our founding fathers, particularly when we just celebrated 250 years of freedom and liberty, and then they wanted to dismantle the mechanisms that kept us free and gave us that liberty. And so I would highlight those aspects of what they're calling for, some of the more radical, crazy ideas that they have been espousing.
It's going to get wild this week when they actually roll this out officially. I mean,
Aisha, we're not even close to the midterm.
I know, but I think even within the Democratic Party, I think you're going to start hearing a lot more people like James Carville out there slamming these folks. Lisa Boothe, always great to see you. You have a great weekend.
And you're crushing it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.